the army, the army lulls you into a sense of belonging where you don't even know that you're an Aboriginal. And it doesn't matter. You're black or white or brindle, and as long as you can get on in the army, you're fine.
Take that back to the last night before I left for Vietnam. And it was the only time that I sat down with my dad. And I said to him, Dad, why did you go to World War One? Because you didn't have to go. You know, the Defence Act said that you weren't eligible to be enlisted in the Imperial Forces. Why did you go? And he said the darndest thing to me. He said, Eric, he said, I didn't want to see our country stolen again. And that was my mantra, I suppose, that stayed with me in my heart.
I was told by the recruiting officer that wasn't going there. The war will be finished by the time I finished my court training and everything. I was told a lie. I told my parents that, and they said good, because they knew what was going on. See it on the news and that, and they didn't want me to go.
I actually joined the army because a couple of my best mates, Glenn and Erwin Brown, who were twin brothers, had joined up before me.
When I joined the army, I didn't think I'd be a couple of Cherbourg blokes be in charge of me, from my own community. Glenn Brown and Peter Eggety, they're both from Cherbourg, and they explained to me what would happen over there, what I'll be doing and that.
But when I sit back and I reflect on it, I was thinking, well, how is this, a little black fellow from Cherbourg going over here to, the other side of the world. That was my first trip in a big plane. That was my first trip in a plane.
When you land there, the first thing hits you is the smell, the atmosphere, the heat.
Vietnam was a different sort of war. Like we didn't have what they call the front, because it sort of moved all the time.
They call us tunnel rats. There's bunker systems underneath. I used to do that, go down, and he sent you down with a 45. It's like a pea shooter. They had everything underground, and this was our job to find them. I didn't know that.
Well, one of the stories, especially about Claude and myself, we were in Vietnam at the same time. Now, I didn't know about that until I got word from my family here in Cherbourg. Actually, it was Christmas Eve, 1970. And we were in this little bar having a drink, and then we sat down there, we're thousands of miles away from home here, and yet all we could talk about was home. And we were lucky that we were given a bit of a break by the Viet Cong for our Christmas celebration, but it sort of just didn't worry us that we were there amongst all this stuff, and we were just wondering what the mob back here were doing, because Christmas back in the days there was a big thing, an absolutely big thing, and it was a big thing for families, and it brought this community together in a spiritual way and also in a cultural way, and it meant a lot to us.
I was suffering a lot too, deep there. The war got to me, and sort of, I wanted out. I couldn't handle it anymore. Mentally, really, that's why I got out.
We'd gone and fought for this country, and we had conscripts who had gone and served this country well, and they were looked upon with disdain. They didn't ask to go; they were sent, and to be treated like that from the general public in Australia, it was just so bloody bad.
Because I remember coming back from Vietnam in Brisbane Airport. There was demonstrators there, calling us baby killers and everything. While that, being over there and coming back and copping all this shit here in Australia.
But coming back here to Cherbourg to live, and I thought to myself, well, I'm on country. I'm on Waka Waka country. Now, when I walk down to this place, I actually literally walk in the footsteps of my dad. And that to me is just unbelievable. I never thought it would have that sort of effect on me.
I go back home every year. It's one thing, you know, I promised my parents I'll do that. And Eric, you know, pretty good. He asked me if I want to go and say anything with the mic, and I said, no, I'll leave that all to you. You're the one with the big mouth. He don't like it either.